Deep inside a crumbling fortress in the Apennine Mountains, a young woman stands alone in a forsaken chamber. Across the room, hanging on the wall, is a recess completely obscured by a heavy black veil. For weeks, the rumors in the castle have whispered that the lord of this fortress murdered a woman and hid the evidence behind that exact curtain. The young woman, Emily, reaches out. Her fingers grip the fabric. She pulls it back. She doesn't scream. She just drops. What she saw behind that veil will haunt her for the rest of her life. But the most terrifying part? The thing behind the veil isn't even the greatest danger in this castle. To understand how Emily St Aubert ended up trapped in a living nightmare, we have to rewind. Months earlier, Emily's life in 16th century France was a paradise. But tragedy strikes hard. Her father dies suddenly, leaving her an orphan. Before his last breath, he forces her to burn a secret stash of letters, crying over a hidden portrait of a mysterious woman. A massive red flag, but Emily has no time to investigate. By law, she is handed over to the custody of her aunt, Madame Chiron. Enter Signor Montoni. He's charming, he's wealthy, and he quickly marries Emily's aunt. But Montoni is an illusion. He isn't a respectable nobleman. He's an 18th century mob boss on the brink of absolute bankruptcy. And he has just legally acquired two massive bank accounts, Emily and her aunt. Montoni drags them across the Alps to his remote stronghold in Italy, the castle of Udolpho. This isn't just a house. It's a sensory deprivation tank built of stone. Montoni's plan is simple: a hostile takeover. He locks Emily's aunt in a remote tower, demanding she sign over her estates. And this is where the psychological torture begins. Udolpho weaponizes the mind. Emily is trapped in a maze of dark corridors. Strange music echoes from the woods at midnight. Phantoms seem to glide across the battlements. Then the horrific reality sets in. Her aunt disappears. Emily finds blood on the secret staircase leading to the tower. Emily is entirely alone, surrounded by Montoni's hired mercenaries. Montoni now turns his sights on Emily, demanding she sign away her own inheritance or face the same mysterious, bloody fate as her aunt. It is in this state of absolute, grinding terror that Emily wanders into the forbidden chamber, the room with the black veil. When she pulls it back and collapses, the audience and Emily are convinced Montoni is a demonic monster. The supernatural dread is suffocating. You think you know exactly what kind of story this is. A ghost story. A monster movie. But right when Emily is at her absolute breaking point, the entire paradigm shifts. Emily realizes something crucial. Montoni isn't a supernatural mastermind. He's a desperate, debt-ridden thug losing control of his own men. The ghosts, the haunting voices, they aren't spirits. They are the psychological symptoms of a girl locked in a stone cage, starved of truth. With the help of a loyal servant and a French prisoner of war, Emily orchestrates a daring, razor-thin escape into the mountains. They flee to the coast, taking refuge in another estate, Chateau Leblanc. She has escaped the physical prison of Udolpho, but she hasn't escaped the mystery. Because Chateau Leblanc has its own dark secret. 20 years ago, the lady of the house, the Marchioness, was murdered in her bed. Her room has been sealed ever since. To prove the room isn't haunted, Emily's brave servant, Ludovico, volunteers to spend the night locked inside it. Morning comes. The door is unlocked. Ludovico is gone. No blood, no struggle, just vanished. Emily's fragile grip on reality threatens to shatter again. Was her father a murderer? Was her aunt slaughtered? Is the supernatural real, after all? This is where the architect of this story plays her masterstroke. Every single terrifying mystery is violently yanked into the harsh light of reality. Ludovico wasn't taken by ghosts. The chateau was built over a network of smugglers' tunnels. Pirates had been using the haunted reputation to hide their stolen goods, and they kidnapped Ludovico when he got too close. Emily's father? He wasn't a murderer or an adulterer. The woman in the portrait was his sister, the murdered Marchioness of Chateau Leblanc. He was simply a man mourning his brutally assassinated sister, trying to protect Emily from the truth. And her aunt? Montoni didn't stab her to death. The blood on the stairs was from a skirmish between mercenaries. The aunt died of a fever, locked in her tower, a victim of Montoni's cold, calculated neglect. And finally, the black veil, the ultimate mystery box. When Emily ripped it back, she didn't see a murdered corpse. She saw a hyper-realistic, decaying wax figure of a human body, writhing with sculpted worms. It was a macabre piece of religious art, a memento mori, created by a former penitent owner of the castle to remind himself of death. The monster wasn't under the veil. The monster was Montoni. The ghosts weren't in the halls. They were in Emily's isolated, terrorized mind. The Mysteries of Udolpho isn't a story about the supernatural. It's a masterclass in psychological survival. It proves that the most terrifying phantoms aren't the ones hiding in the shadows of an ancient castle. They are the ones we construct in our own minds when we are left entirely alone in the dark. If you survived the halls of Udolpho with us today, leave a like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which literary labyrinth we should break down next. Until then, keep a light on.